Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Solar Factory. I am Graham Banks from the Should I Play This Game podcast. Um, Episode 14 sort of ended up with most of the preparation being completed for the rebuild of this little setup. So let's quickly review. We've got a whole bunch of drones coming here, bringing in a bunch of resources required for, well, everything you see in front of you and stuff underneath. We've got heat sinks and got electromagnetic control rods and all sorts of bits and pieces. Coming in rather ugly, it must be said. Comes into this setup, which then goes down this sort of centre corridor, down the middle, or down the well, it's not a centre corridor now. It has the potential to be one. That's what it's a bit of future planning there. So most of this episode is going to be around the rebuild, the dismantling of everything you see in front of you. And the rebuild of this setup. I'm going to use the blueprint designer, so we'll actually get a bit of chance to look at that. That's what was introduced in not episode 7, in update 7. I've not really used it, so it'll be a bit of a learning curve for me. So in preparation for the actual starting of all this, more along that line, I've now filled up these 3 containers of concrete. So they feed the, if I scroll and highlight up, they feed, you can see the concrete there, so they feed the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8 assemblers there at a rate of 288 a minute. So that when we stop actually making concrete and we're relying on just these containers, we'll have roughly, let me just do the math, 72,000 is 20 times 3. Divided by 288, well, about just over 4 hours of concrete, which is good. That should be more than enough time. Again, when we dismantle this stuff and stop making the silica, we haven't quite got 3 full containers here, so we're going to be a bit short, I think, but we'll see how we go. We've got just under, we'll make it 27,200. 200, and that's going 240 a minute out of that, so we're going to just under 2 hours, 113 minutes. So that's going to be our limiting factor. It's probably that one, because the other concrete requirement is over here, and that's these set of 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, they're all full, so it's 24,000. But this requirement to use this is 432 a minute. And that gives us just a bit under 3 hours worth. So the limiting factor, well, we'll probably do this in stages. So first what I have to do is I have to get these rebuilt, so we can, before we run out of time in these 2, that's fine. Then we'll have to get the 16 required to populate that line, which is cool. We'll have a bit longer before we do that. We better do it in stages, so we should be okay. So I've got a couple of design changes. There's going to be, not really design changes, but just what we're going to do. So we're going to have 3 rows of 8 constructors, just all making concrete. Of those, essentially 24 constructors, 16 of them will be used to feed essentially that line where those 3 containers there are. They will make 480 combined across their 16 constructors, all overclocked to 200%, like these one is. So they're making 480 out of their 16. We'll then combine that with the overflow, these 8 constructors. They're all going to be rated at this output, 216.6667%, to give us 32.5 per minute per machine. As a result of that, this setup here will produce just on 260, so there's going to be 6 of them. Can I change my mind actually? Yeah, so we're going to make 8 at 216, so basically we're going to have 8 times 32.5, making 260. We need 288 a minute for this set of 8, so the overflow from those creating 480, that it needs 432, will overflow into this set of 8 to flow into that one. So that's basically the basics of how that's going to work. We're then going to build 6 of these at 110%, Let's go wait to the auto save to kick in. So 6 of those at 110% means they'll put out 141.25 each, or 247.5. We only need 240, so we're going to have a bit of excess. That's absolutely fine. And the idea behind those sets, because we've only got a couple of hours worth here, is we're going to build that pretty much where I'm just below me. You can see just there, just in that gap there, where the left-hand antenna thing is. That's where it's going to go straight underneath in the logistics level, straight through to there, pop up on the other side of that. So it's going to come underneath here where I'm currently running. It's going to come up here, roughly where I am, join onto here, and you can see it goes and joins that one. We might actually move this one out a bit, which is what I'm going to build first. So I'm going to build that first, then we'll come back and go and have a look at the blueprint builder. Right, here it is out here. So we'll give this one concrete. Set directory, I don't know what that means. Icon. Equipment parts, concrete. Add blueprint here. I have no idea what that means. Oh, that might be where I can create them in groups, can I? Add a category. So, right. Worry about that. Don't worry about that. Alright. Maybe I should actually put the design first. So you can see it's a 4x4 grid. I'm actually going to put myself into fly mode here as a part of the utility pack mods. So it's a 4x4 foundation. So what we'll do is we'll build it so that the resources are coming in from our feet, essentially, coming from this direction in. So we'll have them facing inbound. So what we'll do, first things first, we will lay down our first constructor. We'll put it there. So we've got one block there. Let's see, that's probably going to be too... That might be too tight for a merger. Let's see, for that should be fine. So we'll do that. And then we'll have enough space for a splitter on the outside. No, that's outside, so we have to put it there. And that will make that one there. So I actually might be able to build like half of this setup in one blueprint. So we'll do that, we'll do that. We'll lay that out. Go that way. So merger going that way, and merger going that way. Put the outputs into the mergers, join the mergers together. Badly. Nope, I've got that the wrong way apparently. Yes, I did. That way, that. Join. No, I've done it the same again. And that. Come around here, put a splitter. Join that. Up to there, that to there, that to there, that to there. And repeat on this side. Right, that's basically it. Now we could actually set it to be concrete, but I won't worry about that for the time being. No, why not? Concrete. Now we are going to set them. I won't worry about setting the overclock speeds at the moment because I've got several ones to do. So set you to concrete, 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 and last one, concrete. So that is actually half of our setup, all in that setup there. That's actually quite good. So let's go to here. Oh, yep. Right, so that's what that setup costs. Those 8 machines and all the inserters and the belts, that's the cost of that setup. So we'll call that one concrete. 2 by 2 by 2 by 4. Set the icon parts to be that. Save blueprint. Blueprint saved. Alright, so if I'm going to just go randomly put this place, so let's go blueprints, concrete. There it is. You can rotate it. You have to be careful you did rotate it to make sure your belt orientation was correct. You can see the belt runs. You have to tell with this, but you can see by looking at the pattern in the belt, it runs up the screen essentially. The outside ones run away from us. Well, they all do, but the ones in the middle are merging. So yeah, okay, cool. Let's go. Right, so this is where this actually starts. It does this weird and wonderful path underneath here. So let's go find it where it actually comes into this whole structure. So it comes in there, and it actually comes there. So it actually comes up there because it does this split here. Bit ugly because it doesn't really fit, but that goes over to there. So what we're going to actually do is just turn that, stop, break that. So that'll now stop the actual feed of quartz in, and ultimately it'll stop running. And we'll do the same for the limestone for these constructors. So we've got 3 lines, 1, 2, and 3. We've already stopped through one of them before, so I'm just going to find that one, and that one, and we'll have to recreate those obviously. So we're now basically running on these storages. So as we go along, I'm going to go back underneath here because that's almost run out. So it actually has now run out. So let's get rid of all this to clear underneath, because I will need to repath stuff underneath. So get rid of all this. Get rid of that guy. Get rid of that. And we might leave that one there. No, we won't. We'll bring this one back because I suspect we're going to build this. So if we're going to build a row of 6 where the output goes in the center, we're going to probably build the constructors somewhere like there. And we'll build them in a row like that so that the merging can happen in the middle of the foundation, drop straight down underneath, run across to there, join in that path there, and then join up to there. So that's what we'll do. So you can see that this has already started to run out. That's got very little in it. So you can see it's got an output though, so we won't worry about that. So we'll get rid of anything with yellow light on it is basically run out of materials, or in this case run out of materials. It can also be that the output's gummed up, but that's not the case in here. So let's cook up all that. So we've still got concrete to go out of these, so we're not going to... That one's gone, so let's get rid of that guy. He's empty. He's empty. 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 And that's still going. These are still going through whatever sources they already had, so let's just get rid of everything else going on here. Don't really need to do much more of a cleanup than this at the moment, because all I need is the space to build these 6 constructors for the silica. We can do the rest of the cleanup when this is completely gone. So get rid of all this. And how much have you got? You still got 39. You won't have any more limestone coming in, so this can all go. And that can go. And that's still going. That has basically finished. Yep, that one's done. Well, that's done, and that's also done, so that can go. Right, and that's now gone from that. Right, and I'm going to guess this is also gone as well. Alright, let's just get rid of the first 8 from there. And we'll get rid of this row set up here. Get rid of this. What I say is going to kick in a second. So we'll dismantle this lot. Just make sure I don't do anything. I won't do it. Auto save. Right, and then we'll build our 6 constructors pretty quickly. Once we can figure out where we can bring that resource up. So let's just get rid of that. That's probably all we need for the time being. Well, that's a really weird effect. Right, so that's where our resource will come up. We know we want to come out of the center of that one, so if we were to place, say for example, place that there, which brings the resource out on that row, on that line. The other thing I need to do, if I've got the materials, which I don't, I'm just going to very quickly go and grab a bunch of steel beams, because I just want to change the the foundations to the right type now. So we'll get rid of. For some reason this takes a really big frame rate here when I do this. So not really sure why exactly. Alright, that will do for now. So that's big enough. Alright, so if we bring, get rid of that and that. So now everything's running on the storages that I've built up over the last little bit that I showed at the beginning of this episode. So right, so if we bring that down that way, let's say we build the first constructor in there. We then get a constructor in there. And we then want to come out with a merger that way. And we could center that a little bit better by rotating him and putting him. Let's just move that to there, so it's now right in the middle of that foundation. So it'll all be sort of somewhat central and somewhat incoming there. So that will come out of that into that and merge out of that and go up that way. Don't need to do with it. That is what we're looking at doing. So let's build 5 more quickly. We can do this with our smart mod. 5 done. And now you see the last one comes out here. So we can do the last one into a merger. We can then bring. Oh, I haven't got any concrete. It's a bit ironic, isn't it? Which ones have got more time? We've got roughly nearly 4 hours over here. So we'll grab some from this guy. Go a couple of hundred. That'll do. And then we'll build our that. Turn him around so he's that way. Go back underneath. Put it in there. And come out that way. So if I do finish before we have this sort of 2 hour limit that we've imposed on ourselves, I'm not going to worry about doing anything with the leftover the stuff. I'll just put that into my main storage in my main factory. So I won't try and sort of reuse it here, for example. I'll just start feeding into the run. So that's all the outputs. So we need a split around here to keep the split going, which is going to be that way, that way, that way. Don't need one on the end because we'll just do a, oh, not too far. Do a hair like that. Right, so that's all that bit done. This is basically done. This is, I was really overthinking the amount of storage I was going to need to be able to do this. So, we are going to be making silica, and I was setting this to, just getting my notes here, 110%, so we're going to need one of those, 110%, and get rid of that, and is that the recipe copy? It is. Okay, so save that across that, and then do that, that, and that. Now they've all got the same recipe. Double check that's worked. Yep. Check the last one. 110. Beautiful. So now what we can do is we can basically join that back. Oh, no, we need to build that. Put that back in there, and quartz will start to go in, which is cool. So it'll start to fill in a part of it and start to fill that in, which is good. Now, what we're going to do, we won't worry about being too particularly fussy with power at the moment. We will ultimately probably put a roof on this and power them from sort of the top in terms of having the wires and stuff. But for the time being, let's just go and build. Oh, I can't build one. Power polymer Mark 3. Yeah, we'll just put 1, 2, 3. We'll just put a power pole right there. And we'll feed that one, that, 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 and the last one. And then we'll join it to that, and away they go. Alright, there's the first look coming out. So, that did not take long at all. Right, so, if we jump into here, we'll find we've got silica coming up into here, and along here, which is great, and then it stops. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to get rid of that, and go to the right level, grab that, and join to that, and now we are feeding the main run with the new setup. So that's absolutely, that was really quick. Took that around 30 minutes to build that. So I probably have more than enough concrete, especially since I've got the blueprint to lay down the machines. I think we'll be laughing to build the concrete setup pretty quickly. Right, so as I said, that's backed up. This will start to back up, and then that'll back up, and then we're basically home and hose. We're good. So we need coming in 24.75 times 6. We need 148. We've got more than enough. That'll slowly, hopefully, drop down. So as this backs up, this will back up, and then the split will back up, and it'll eventually sort of manage that out and sort of come right in the end. But let's just go see what this counter's saying it's got. 166. Just it'll catch up and eventually come right. But that should be pretty much on track. Now just make sure this can be the other problem you can have is you can have that first one in which is so that's always going to be empty because it'll empty out here quicker because it's closer to this join. But if if I've got my maths wrong, which I'm pretty sure I don't in terms of the requirement, let me just double check everything. So, if you've got the maths right, it should basically, so one of these needs 60 a minute. We've got 4 of them, so that's 240. So, get rid of that in a moment. That's all good. This should now refresh again. What have we got? There we go, 240 on the nose. Beautiful. And hopefully this doesn't start to build up too much, but we'll see how we go. And that's come down as well. That's now basically done. That's basically built, ready to go. So we'll plug this guy down, close up that gap, and we are done. Let's get rid of this. We now need this space back. Get rid of these. There's our three. There's our 3 rows. In fact, we can even make this even better again. We don't have to do this weird setup. We can just have them coming straight out. So, it makes things a bit easier. So, we'll make the first set. Yeah, this is a bit of a concern, the fact that that's now building up so much. That means that this is not getting the throughput out of it to be able to clear its output. Yeah, we'll have to think about that when we get when we've done this other bit. Okay, so we're going to have 3 lots of limestone coming in there. I'm not fussed about where these ones end up, so let's just put down the first blueprint and see what we've got. Yeah, have I got that the right direction? Yep, we do. Not worried about it where it's sort of positioned. We might make it obviously line up with that one to make it a bit more nicer. We could do there, for example. So we'd we would basically bring that one up, roughly stop that one there. Give or take about there, example. Do a cook up there. Ah, there's a problem. We've got lime, we've got sulfur sitting there. So what we might then do is, rather than doing it that way, which is fine, I'm not going to go and move the sulfur lines just for the yet. I may ultimately do that, but not yet. Let's just put that there. Have I got that right? No, too far over. Put that there and join, reverse that so it's out, and jump into that. And then we'll just have that sitting there. And that will feed that one, ultimately set the next set of 4 as well. And then this second run will join into, basically do the exact same thing. So we'll put that there, put that there. And that will do that one. And then let's get rid of that and that. And we can build the row of 8 here. I think that will work quite well. And that's already joined up, so let's actually start, let's grab the next, let's grab the blueprint again and build the next set of 4. Ooh, got to get this direction right, otherwise it won't work at all. Yep, that's correct. I'm going to guess that it wasn't giving me the... Yep, that's got it. So now what we do now is just go and build, join it doing this. So those blueprints are actually quite impressive. Yeah, quite very useful. So now what we can do is just come back under here. Just going to get on the inside here and do that. And with that one, join that. And, oh, what did I say? Oh, didn't do the other end of this belt. And there we go. So they don't know what they're doing yet because I haven't told them they're making concrete. But I just sort of checked that the yep, that's all going through there. That's gone really quite well. And we'll just put that there, and that's where the belt will go out of that. Okay, let's just quickly check how this end one's going. 137. It's not too bad. That's empty. That's empty. That's empty. 140. 100. Okay. Right. So this is going to be 2 rows of 8, which we've got at 200%. I'm going to need a lot of that. That should be enough. So bring that level up. 200. Nose is making concrete. That's cool. Right. So bring open the recipe copier tool. Save it and then go chunk, 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 chunk. Got it right. We should have that at 200. We do. Oh, get that last one. Done. Right. Okay. So we've got 8 devices. So we can actually put a pole. Put one pole, power pole there. We'll put another one, same spot. Join. So we'll have 8 connections from the actual machines, and then an incoming one from. Wait a second. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. It should have been put there. So before we power these up and actually power them on, we will get their output set up as well, so it starts to feed into the setup. So just one pole there. We'll just join those to each other, and then we'll leave that, and we might just put a power pole there. And we'll put a power pole there, I think. Get rid of that. Oh, should have realised that was going to happen. and do that. Oh, that's means I've taken out the power for the... Oh, okay, I've taken out the power for the drone ports. That's not good. That probably means the waste has started to build up because of that, but we'll see. You can see that these weren't operating. They're running at 50% because they've not been able to have their thing run there, but doesn't look too bad. Oh, obviously one can't have been too long. Oh, wow. Synchronized drones over there. Cool. I've never seen drones like that. Okay, and then the last regular out there. Alright. Okay, so let's go build where the underground bit, where this concrete's actually got to ultimately end up. And it basically has to join with this setup. That's where it comes out. So that's the main run down there. So let's just get rid of this for a second. And that should be a smart splitter, and is. Because this is where all the concrete was coming down. So this concrete was in fact coming out here and coming down here, which we want to actually change. I'll get rid of that now. So we can actually bring this concrete in somewhere around here and rejoin. So that should move in a second. It does, yeah. So we could probably bring this concrete in. What's that? That's maybe what I built it for. No, can't do that because that's there. But we can probably do it there. Hey. We might just bring it right in. Let's bring it right in there. Let's see if I got that height right. I think I do. Right, so that's what we'll do. We'll bring it in right next to that. So this is the one that's got the 288 requirement. The other one's the 432, but we're going to overflow into this one because the output from the actual production on here is not going to be that much. So I'll bring this down to here to begin with because let's just get rid of that for a second because that's where it all was. So anything that's going to stay where it is this belt run here. Because that's the one that takes the concrete from currently out of these three containers to the far end where it's needed in the blenders. So we need to figure out where we're going to place these 8 constructors for the other concrete, which will basically take the limestone from that. Might as well sort of keep a bit of a theme. What have we got there? We've got that sitting in the halfway. If I was actually doing this, redoing this, I probably would actually put that in the middle of the foundation. Just sort of line up with that and then put that across, and I may end up doing that. In fact, I might just do that. So to keep that sort of going, so you'd have a foundation in the middle, have that in the middle, that in the middle, move that across to the right a bit, which means that'll be in the middle, which means we'll have one sitting there. We'll still basically put it, and then we'll put the constructor, we'll put it right there, we'll build our 8 that way. That's fine. Do that, and then we'll have another merger, no, merger, sorry, that merges that way. So basically now we've got the end point of this, we can go to the end one, merge that, and then build, and that's going to be an incoming one, yep. So where does that put us relative to, okay, so we're over there. So that's where it comes out from that other one, that other set of 16 is coming out of that one. So what we'll do is we'll feed that this way, and that this way as well. I'm actually now beginning to think I should flip these around because I need to overflow from this output. Overflow from this one into this one, and then join that, then joins this. So I could kind of do it in a really ugly way by putting the overflow, the smart splitter in here, and pointing it, say, to the right, say for example, have it come out to the left. This doesn't go that way, it comes to the right behind it. That would be the one way to do it. Alternatively, we flip everything around up top. So on top we have the 8 required for this setup. We basically flip these 16 to the right and bring the other 8 into the middle. So this feed can go straight into, basically join up with that other run. And because if I have it the other way around, yeah, so I have it the other way around, then this will be the one that that overflows into. So I can have that just come straight out, straight along, join it with that belt run there, overflow to another merger here, or even a merger that's sitting right in front of that, and that merges into that and goes that way, and this just joins it. So that might be, it'll make this easier, a bit more logical underneath here. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to dismantle all of this. In fact, what I'll do is I won't even need to dismantle all of it. I'll just dismantle one side of it. Looking good. Oh, so the yellow ones are okay because I expect that to be beginning where they don't quite have their resources yet, so that's not a big thing. Let's see. Now this won't do any overflowing for quite a while because it needs to wait until the belt is saturated, which will take some time. And also I've actually got it still going into the storage, the containers. This will eventually stop here because I haven't. You can see that's already backed up because this doesn't actually. Once it gets to here, it stops. So where does that actually come up now? It comes up there. So we get rid of that. We let that finish out. Still got concrete on that belt. There we go. I'm actually struggling to see what's actually what in here because there's so many belts are here. It's definitely an outward belt. That isn't though for some weird reason. Okay. So that should now be concrete. Hang on right and that. So luckily this has got a pretty big stack, so 500 would have taken a fair bit of time for me to get that screwed up to not have that populate through. Right, so that's that one done. Now what that means is that this is now not flowing out, so we can get rid of that, get rid of that and that and that, get rid of this, get rid of that, clean this up. Good, okay. So what we're now going to do is get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that. Get rid of that too, just because we get these things going on from belt to belt. That's where it'll stop, and that should go through to there. There we go. Okay, so there, the problem with these ones is going to be is that's output is full. That's what that's about. So we'll have to redress that in a moment. But let's have a look at how this is all running. So we've got that's looking really good. Got nothing stacking up in the outputs of any of those, which is really good. Don't know what the output's doing at the moment, so let's just put a counter on there and a counter on there. We'll put a counter on that one and we'll put a counter on that one. In fact, we'll put a counter there as well, because what we should have coming out of that one is 480. Out of that one it should be around 260 or so out of that one. Now that won't be overflowing yet, so that should basically be 0. And then this should be 260 because it's not going to be no overflow coming into it yet. So that's that, and then that should be basically 480. And eventually that will catch up and start to build up on the other end there and start to saturate the belt. And then we'll end up having overflow coming out of here. So it's probably going to take a little time for it to do all that because of the fact the belts were stopping and starting and stuff like that. So we might have an issue with those machines running out of concrete a little bit while this is all flowing through. But I'm not seeing any issues here with the concrete at all, which is good. So if we go and grab the efficiency tool and click on this guy, it says we need 780, we're getting 780, good. Need 720, need 720, good. And likewise, so we've got the inputs all good, excellent. That should say 480. That should say 480 if I can get it to select. 480 doesn't know what the output is because it's got that weird split in it, and that should say 260. Beautiful. And that doesn't. Yeah. So that's all lining up properly. Alright, let's go back under here. So 258, that should be 260, close enough. That'll also be 258 to match it, that's fine. Here we go, it's started to saturate a bit. And you'll see there's a couple coming back this way. We've already got 42 coming back this way, so now we've got 306 coming back that way. So this is basically how you balance between these two. So the amount that it needs should be around the 432 mark. We'll go through that counter eventually. And this will be whatever's excess from 480, it's around 58 or so, or 48 or so, will come this way. That actually will end up being too much that it actually needs, but I prefer that to be oversaturated than not enough. So, right, let this autosave kick in, and then we'll wrap this video up. Yes, that's all gone really well. Alright, that'll do for this episode 15. So that's basically rebuilt all that setup. I'm happy how that's gone. It's gone really well. Yeah, the blueprint stuff was good as well. Obviously it didn't quite fit what I needed, but I really should have paid a bit more attention to what I was actually going to do. Sort of taken more into account the underground logistics, under-level logistics as well. But what we've now got is we've got this concrete going down through there. We've got the silica going down through there as well. We've got this joining up with this one in essence to go that way and down to the left as well from where we're flying. So yeah, it's basically... Oh, that bug has gone. I haven't got any radiation. Good. So yeah, it's looking actually kind of good. So we've got all this basically done as we wanted it. I think I'll go through at some point. I won't do it in a video because it's a bit boring. I'm just going to put foundation levels in here to sort of make it all logistics levels. Maybe, not too sure. I do want to tweak a couple of other things. I want to tweak this pipe here. It's a bit weird that I've got this left sort of kink in it. So if I come back underneath, I also want to move this water one, which is the main reason why I want to do it. So this is the... Let's put that there so I don't fall in that. So this is the one that comes out of the sulfur, and it comes down there and does this setup, then goes that way. So what I'm going to ultimately do is change it so it comes down the middle here, doesn't do this kink, goes straight up into here, and then just does this, and then through across like that. It'll just look better. And then that will allow me to, and then the next part will be to move the two water, or the water and the gas. So now they've moved this bit here across to the left to here. I should better then move the nitrogen across as well, and the water, which is the one on the inside there. If I just fly up about there, you can see they've got water there. Bring that across as well, which will now allow it to fit inside this. Because at the moment, if I do, you can see it's going to basically go right in half through the middle of the pipe, and I don't want that. So we'll have to adjust that a bit as well. But that is that. Yeah, that'll do. So pretty successful outcome. Everything's running nicely. All this extra stuff that's in these containers I'll just shift into my main setup in the main factory. Won't go to waste. But yeah, I won't do that on video, but yeah, that'll be... So next video, episode 16, will be in a couple of weeks' time. We'll review how this is actually ultimately turned out. Any tweaks I've made under the hood. But until then, thanks for watching and goodbye. Thank you.